Hello, everybody. This is the Temporal Gyre. It's the bonus dungeon, and we're going to go through it twice. That's basically the bulk of this video. As you might notice, if you look at the bottom right, this is a little quicker than the other episodes that have usually been trying to be around 18 to 20 minutes, and 25 in one case. But it just happened it was cleanest that way. So
these guys seem pretty old.
Yeah, there's enemies from everywhere in the game, and they could show up in random configurations. I think their stats have been increased at least a little, to compensate. But essentially the idea is it's just a gauntlet of rooms full of enemies.
And you decided to use these spinning blades for this? Like, it seems like, doesn't the gun pierce through targets?
It does, but I was, specifically my thought was I don't want to aggro them all in this room.
I mean, it seems like it would be kind of fun, like, going through a whole bunch of enemies at once.
Well, the only, like, in the other ones, I do equip, much more aggressive and, like, just beeline, but those are the ones that have the AoE ground smash attack, and all of them doing it at once is hard to dodge. I think in the next, like, couple rooms, I switch over to a different one.
Do you know how many floors this goes on for?
I think it's 4 floors, and then the boss. Oh yeah, so that blob that you can see kind of off to the left at this moment, that's an interesting enemy.
You mean that kind of like mass of darkness?
Yes. You can only attack it while time is stopped. And unfortunately, as far as I know, it's the only enemy of the kind in the game.
Seems a little hard to hit in general.
Yeah, it seems to also be programmed to run away from you.
Maybe it had some cool, like, rare loot or something.
Maybe. I think I killed it instead of it running it completely away, but I'm not 100% sure. I will have to attempt to kill it again or see if the wiki has any information.
I love these guys and their kind of doofy run.
Oh yes. I know they're called gargoyle sentries, but I keep thinking of it as the Roomba guards. Especially because they have that little vacuum.
Oh wow, like this is an interesting room.
Oh yeah. This one I'm definitely taking slowly, like, to be absolutely... Because right here is I'm going, okay, I can do this. Ow, I can do this.
It shouldn't be too hard. You got a double jump.
Yeah. Well, no, it was specifically trying to make sure that I didn't aggro so many of them at once that the AoEs would be coming down all, you know, or the hammers would be coming down all the time. Because while I can deal with the staggered AoEs by jumping, the hammer does attack for the entire, like, swing. Yeah. I would love to see more of, like, Risha type enemies. Just, I want more of these type of enemies throughout the whole game. I mean, that's, I think, one of my biggest general complaints about the game is that there isn't a massive amount of enemy variety. You're seeing a lot of the same enemies with, granted, with variations, but still looking the same.
Yeah, we've discussed this a little bit before,
yeah.
That the game could use a little bit extra.
Yeah. This is where a lot of the extra seems to have gone, because there's a lot of enemies that you'll only see in here. Also, this is where the shiny rock is supposed to be used, but I don't get what it drops this particular fight. But this was the one that I had recorded the first time, so...
I see. Bunch of birds.
Yep.
considered using something with a little bit more range on it?
Yeah, I'm trying to see what's damaging it, but yeah, no, it's like, okay, if I can get in close, this does great, but it's not always good, so... I think I switched to the gun in a moment. I know I come at it...
It seems like all in all, you kind of really do love using those spinning things too much.
I do. I get better about it. But, it's just because they hit so many times when you can get into right up close. The gun is
according to the thread anyway. Like if you want to do like a lot of like up close damage, you're actually looking at the blue orbs.
Yeah, the blue orbs and the wind orbs are some of the best for up close damage. The post game testing has revealed that. There's also one later game like optional dungeon reward orb that is also really good for it, while also being super broken because it works at long range. And we'll get into that in a moment. It's not this orb, but this is a really good bit of equipment. This is me trying to see if you can get the orb without breaking them. And it is possible, you just have to have the right timing.
So, new armor, new orb, eh?
Yeah.
How many times can you go through this? And do you get different rewards each time?
Yes. You get, the first time you go through, you get the coat. The second time you go through, you get the cap, and there's a different boss, and it basically alternates. So this is me on the second playthrough, and you can see that I've got a new one entirely, which is one of the boss orbs. It is the Forbidden Tome. You can also see that I have 3 of them, which is the Royal Orb's ring effect.
Yeah, you're really just throwing the swords out there.
Yep. It's a book sword. But yeah, the nice thing is that, well, it does not the same amount of damage, I don't think, as when it's thrown. They do damage close up, too. Also, note the Demon Guard dog, which is frickin' interesting and adorable, and we should have seen more enemies like that.
I don't even know precisely what it was doing there.
Yeah. Like, Risha would have been great to have at, like, somewhere in the castle. Maybe in the dungeons.
Yeah, like some more really fantastic enemies.
Yeah.
Or go even farther with the sci-fi stuff.
Oh yeah, like, more of the Meteor Sparrow type.
Well, that just wasn't fair.
Yeah. The power of Lunai after a couple trips through this dungeon is really unfair.
Yeah, you seem to be getting levels up to quite an accelerated rate.
Oh yes.
Where are you at now? 56?
Yes. I mean, granted, this is later on. So this is the second time that I fought the Raven Lord, and this is just sort of... This is actually when I get the reward. And then I've got one more run-through showing off the other boss. I think this... Yeah, this is when I get the reward, I'm pretty sure. So this is the spell version of the spinny blades.
Oh.
And yeah. So while I this is the version of it that I think is the best, because it does not have a huge MP cost. It's got really good damage, multi-hit, AoE, and you don't get knocked out of it. It's not the cheapest, because I think that still belongs to... Yeah, no, I got my face kicked a couple times.
I really shouldn't laugh at your misfortune, but, you know.
I do. But I think, like, after the... Okay. When I did that, I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I'm a dumbass. Let's do this correctly.
Correctly, you say.
Yeah, it was like 2 a.m. The Eternal Crown. Yes. Okay, this isn't the time that I got the familiar, but this is me checking to make sure that I... Because at this point, I know that that is what the shiny rock is for. I'm just sort of checking to make sure that I'm not missing it somehow.
Well, you said that you're going through it twice, so...
Well, I went through it twice, once in the pregame and then twice now. And this run is even quicker than the last, because this is to show off the other boss. Because I think this was like the 4th time through. Out of all my runs. Like, this was the time that I had just sort of realized that it wasn't random, it was alternating.
So you have the Raven Lord, and what's the other boss?
You'll see in a moment. It's basically, it's a dude with fire and swords. It's basically Agni. Actually, I think that is his name. But yeah, this is the
Nether Shade, I think it was called.
Yeah, no, this is how it usually acts, and it's just sort of irritating. Because it can only be hit while time is stopped, and it runs through you and then away. There we go.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you'd fight that thing in any sort of efficient way.
Yeah, like, the candles in this area respawn, I think, specifically so that you can deal with it.
Yeah, it seems to be just the same room, like same drop. Like, I mean, you know, you drop down to another level, and then you go through a room, and that's it.
Yeah, no, it's the Portrait of Ruin Order of Ecclesia bonus boss dungeon, basically. But
they don't even throw any hazards in, like an acid pool or spikes.
Nope. And, like, I could see that being a nifty thing in some variations of the room. I'd also like to see, you know, more enemies like Cain, especially because, you know, Cain, Agni, there's a bunch of extra enemies and enemy types in this area that I would love to have seen in the rest of the game, and I know I've said that already, but I'd also like to see stuff like Cain also as a boss as opposed to a regular enemy. And there is an enemy in this that is also a boss. Or becomes a boss, I should say. So, this dude turns into Ifrit. Also, I have accidentally broken this fight, sitting where I am. He has knocked me underneath his hitbox, and I cannot stand up without taking damage.
This is some good design.
Yeah.
I guess they couldn't really have predicted that you would Actually, wait, what am I saying? Of course they could have predicted that.
The thing is, the only way to get under him like this is to take damage and take knockback that gets you knocked underneath him.
All the same, though, like...
Yeah, no, I mean, he's not the best. And that's the bonus dungeon.